Hello, my name is Taylor White. I'm a senior at the University of Baltimore, as well as an academic coach and tutor. And today I will be discussing working with adult learners in the virtual world. I want to start off with a quote from Susan Eldridge from the University of Maryland. Faculty members need to know that students learn differently. They don't just memorize, they have a context within which they take information, they learn and apply it. And this summarizes the problem of universities not understanding that adult learners learn differently. This goes for professors, academic coaches like myself, and maybe tutors. And they don't know how to accommodate these adult learners because they don't realize that they're different. The assumption in the US is that most college students are recent high school graduates. So you have your 17 to 18-year-olds graduating high school, going straight into college into a 4-year bachelor's degree program, and then graduating at 21 to 22 years old. 69% of college seniors in 2018 went directly into college after graduating, which was a 6% increase in a 10-year period. 63% of Americans believe the average college student is 20 years old. And in reality, the average college student is 26.4 years old. And at UB, this is 27 years old. An infographic from the U.S. Department of Education shows the college population by age. On the left-hand side, we can see all of the percentages by age group, and then the total of 43.8% includes all of the adult learners, so there's 24 plus age groups. And then with almost half of the population being adult learners, it's very important to inform others on this topic and what they can do to better accommodate adult learners and how specifically. Working at a non-traditional university with a diverse group of students, I always knew that I would have to eventually work with adult learners. Once I did, that was my inspiration for exploring the topic more. There isn't a lot of research out there or resources tailored to working with adult learners. I knew that I had the skills and the knowledge to work with students, so I just had to kind of tailor that to work with an adult learner, especially in the virtual world. I did a lot of explaining on the technology side. My student wasn't that fluent with technology, Zoom, even the platforms that we use for our school, emailing. So I had to do a lot of explaining, typing. I had to do a lot of demonstrating and explaining for that student so we can then get into the content of the stuff. And I really learned a lot. I've learned that I need to explain more because I like to do and not explain. I don't explain the smaller things. So explaining a simple copy and paste, which I assumed everyone knew, was like, okay, I'm going to start explaining everything from beginning to end for the student. And it actually worked out. I think that we both learned a lot from each other. It was definitely a mutualistic relationship. And I grew a lot as an academic coach and tutor from working with this student. So I've probably mentioned adult learners a million times now, and you're wondering what exactly adult learner is. There is no clear or universal definition, more of a general consensus, and it's very straightforward. Students aged 25 and older are considered adult learners, and with adult learners is adult learning. Adult learning is distinct from child learning. It's a practice in which adults engage in systematic and sustained self-educating activities in order to gain new forms of knowledge, skills, attitudes, or values. And there are some barriers to adult learning. It could be one or multiple for one specific student. Career or financial obligations, so they can't afford to leave work to go to school. They can't do part-time and part-time. They have to work full-time. They have family and children, which relates to financial obligations. They have other people to take care of, rigid schedules. They cannot balance the two work and school lives along with everything else. Budget and finances. They may not have tuition within their budget. Academic preparedness and confidence. A lot of adult learners have preconceived notions that they can't do certain things because they're too old. They can't do it because it's too late in life. So they have this negative mindset of I can't do it. And that kind of hinders them from reaching their goals and reaching full potential and realizing the things that they can do. And then virtual learning added an extra barrier just because now you don't get the face-to-face interaction with your professors. You don't get to talk to your peers in the class and get that nice peer interaction that helps, or group work. You don't get the immediate feedback from your professor. You're not able to ask questions right away and get answers right away. You have to email them. You can't go up to their office. So it kind of amplified an already overlooked issue, which has created a whirlwind of trouble for some people. And adult learners also fall under the non-traditional student category. There are certain characteristics of non-traditional students. The main two for adult learners would be attends college part-time, works 4 times, and then has dependents other than a spouse. All of these, once again, can apply, but it could just be one. So what motivates an adult learner? Cyril Hu conducted a study in 1961 asking different adults what motivates them to learn. So there were 3 major groups, or 3 kind of categories of learners. The first one was goal-oriented. They wanted to get something out of learning. So they wanted a promotion, they wanted a raise, they wanted to change new career paths, etc. The second would be activity-oriented learners, people who enjoy the activity of learning. They enjoy going to school, going to class, being in the class setting. And then the third is learning-oriented, which are learners who like the activity of learning. They want to learn more, they want to learn new things, and they kind of have inquiring minds. And there's also the adult learning theory developed by Malcolm Knowles in 1968. The adult learning theory emphasizes the differences between adult learning and children learning. There are 5 assumptions: self-concepts, readiness to learn, motivation to learn, which both relate to reasons, orientation of learning, which is they want applicable and practical skills to learn, and then adult learner experience. They have lots of experience from their previous jobs. There are lots of resources regarding learning styles for students. There are way less resources tailored to adult learners and learning styles. Adult learners can fall under any of these categories. So social in a group are people who like to learn in a group setting. Auditory are people who like to hear things. Solitary, independent workers. Physical, hands-on, kinesthetic learners. And then visual are learners who like observing. And adult, the most 3 common are auditory, visual, and physical or kinesthetic for adult learners. Now, we have all of these facts about adult learners. We know who they are, how we can identify them, what challenges and barriers they're facing, what motivates them. So how can we better accommodate them? First would be to learn the individual student, understand what motivates them and the barriers they face. The second would be to encourage and highlight their strengths. Always be flexible, because we're living in very, very weird times with virtual learning. So everyone's had their own problems and lives going on. Academic and career services and providing additional resources. I always like to refer my students to other resources, whether they be on campus, other offices, other services we offer, or if it's online services, extra tutoring or learning resources, and then provide autonomy and independence, real world examples and relevance that are relevant. This is especially specific for adult learners because they value these things and it helps them to better learn. I like to set up a listen, learn plan layout for my students where I like to listen to the problems and then I speak to each individual problem and then we do a plan of action. Always set clear goals. I like to use the SMART acronym to set goals and then leave them feeling confident with a clear plan of action. And then a major key takeaway is, while we have lots of research and theories that are all helpful to create a game plan or approach, that is all it is. It is a case-by-case basis when working with students. It helps to better understand them and how they learn, but not every adult learner will fall under the same umbrella of being one or the other. So, while even if they are the same, they may not display the same characteristics or traits in the same manner. So, it definitely takes time. It's definitely experimentation and trial and error. So really helping the student is the ultimate goal. If you deviate from the book or the theories or the resources, that is fine. I always like to ask, did I meet your goals? And did I answer all of your questions? If both of the answers is yes, then the methodology is irrelevant to me. Thank you.